Imagine a CEO walking into a struggling, legacy company.
Right, like a total disaster of a company.
Exactly. And on day one, he publicly tells all the engineers that if the product fails, it is 100% their fault.
Completely throwing them under the bus.
Yeah, right under the bus. And then he publicly questions the talent of his youngest junior executive,
Yeah.
basically daring him to fail on the world stage.
Which is brutal.
It is. And finally, realizing the company is completely broke, he just walks into a VIP lounge and asks a luxury fashion house to foot the entire bill.
I mean, that is exactly what Flavio Briatore is doing at Alpine Formula One right now. It's wild.
It is wild.
Yeah.
And that is exactly the mission of this deep dive today. We are opening up our paddock notes, analyzing direct quotes from management, crunching Renault's financial restructuring data, and looking at the brutal historical precedents of Flavio Briatore's career.
Because if you want to understand where the modern F1 grid is heading, you have to decode what he's doing in real time.
Right.
We are watching a master manipulator try to resurrect a midfield team into a championship contender, like practically overnight. It is a masterclass in corporate manipulation, and it is happening in plain sight.
Yeah, and you are watching it play out right in front of us.
Exactly. And Briatore has set a hard, non-negotiable deadline before the August summer break to completely lock in Alpine's driver lineup for 2027. He is holding a match over a powder keg right now.
And you really have to understand the foundational pieces he has already moved on the board here. Because Alpine has completely abandoned their own engine program for the new 2027 technical regulations.
Yep, they secured a Mercedes engine.
Right, and they are entirely rewriting their financial and visual identity. But the catalyst for all of this, the absolute, linchpin, is who sits in that second seat.
But to understand the second seat, we really have to look at the anchor, which is honestly the strangest part of this entire puzzle to me.
The Pierre Gasly situation.
Exactly. Pierre Gasly is locked in. He signed the contract taking him through 2028. But Briatore isn't just saying, Gasly is our guy. He is publicly coming out and calling Gasly a natural leader, saying he is criminally underrated.
He went even further than that, actually.
Yeah, he explicitly ranked him in the top 6 on the grid.
Now, look, I'm going to make a bold claim right here.
Oh, boy. Let's hear it.
No, seriously, listen. I think Briatore might actually be right.
You're kidding.
I'm not. Gasly is an elite, top-tier driver who has just been stuck driving a severely underperforming car for the last few years. If you put Gasly in top-tier machinery, he is fighting for world championships.
Okay, stop. Start right there. Top 6. You are seriously going to put Pierre Gasly in the top 6 of the current grid?
Absolutely, I am.
Let's count them out. You have Max Verstappen.
Okay, 1.
Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris. George Russell. Lewis Hamilton. And Oscar Piastri. That is 6 right there. And we haven't even mentioned Carlos Sainz or Fernando Alonso.
We're looking at the car, not the raw talent.
Putting Gasly above current multiple race winners and world champions is not a factual ranking of his raw pace. I mean, come on. It is a massive, calculated psychological play by Briatore.
So you don't think Gasly has the raw talent to match a Russell or a Piastri if he actually had a car that didn't drive like a shopping cart with a broken wheel? Let's not forget, he won at Monza in an AlphaTauri.
He is incredibly talented, yes. And that Monza win proves he can execute under immense pressure. I'm not denying that.
I do.
But that's entirely missing the point Briatore is making. You have to look at the subtext of the quote.
Okay, what's the subtext then?
Briatore specifically said, we have no secrets with him, but now what we have to do is give him the performance in the car. Do you see the mechanism at work here?
Shifting the blame.
Exactly. By publicly declaring Gasly as an undisputed elite top 6 driver, Briatore is shifting 100% of the pressure away from the cockpit and directly onto Alpine's chassis factory at Enstone.
Ah, I see where you're going with this. Briatore is treating Gasly like a load-bearing pillar. He's telling the public, this pillar is flawless, structurally perfect. So if the roof caves in come 2027, everyone will know it wasn't the pillar's fault. It was the architects who designed the house.
That is a perfect analogy. Let's break down the technical reality of what Alpine is doing. Historically, they have been a works team, meaning Renault built both the chassis and the engine in-house.
Which is incredibly expensive and really hard to get right.
Right. Now they're shutting down their engine department and buying a Mercedes power unit off the shelf.
Which is a huge blow to French national pride, by the way.
Huge! But why do it? Because Mercedes nailed the last major engine regulation change, and they are the absolute safest bet for 2027.
So it's plug and play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Briatore is walking into the Enstone factory and saying, look, we have a top 6 driver, we have a championship-winning Mercedes engine in the back. If we are not winning in 2027, it is entirely the aerodynamic department's fault.
Wow.
He is removing every single hiding place for the engineers. It's brutal.
That is borderline psychological warfare.
It really is.
But if Briatore is establishing Gasly as this flawless, untouchable king just to put pressure on the engineers, then logic dictates he doesn't actually want a fiercely competitive driver in the second seat.
Right.
He doesn't want someone pushing Gasly and causing internal friction. He wants an obedient human shield, right?
Yeah.
Which explains exactly what is happening with Franco Colapinto.
Precisely. And this is where it gets really, really uncomfortable for the young Argentine.
Yeah, poor guy.
I mean, Briatore was the one who brought Colapinto in. He championed him. But his public assessment right now is absolutely ruthless.
What did he say again?
Briatore openly admits Colapinto is gaining confidence, but then he goes on the record and says he has a lot of talent, but we don't really know how much.
Oof. It's a chilling quote.
It really is.
Imagine being Colapinto. You are risking your life at 200 miles an hour, desperately trying to prove you belong at the pinnacle of motorsport, and your team's executive advisor goes public and basically shrugs, saying, yeah, he's all right, but the jury is totally out.
The total lack of support.
Especially when Briatore specifically contrasts Colapinto with Kimi Antonelli. Briatore pointed out that they knew Antonelli had talent last year, and this year Antonelli's actively proving his worth. But Colapinto hasn't shown his full potential.
Yeah.
How do you get in the cockpit after your boss says that?
You get in the cockpit terrified, which is exactly how Briatore operates, you know.
Fear is a motivator.
Let's bring in some essential historical context here, because Briatore himself leans on this exact playbook. Look back at the early 2000s when Briatore was running Renault.
The Jensen Button era.
Yes. He had Jensen Button in the seat. Button was the absolute darling of the British media. The next big thing, incredibly smooth, highly marketable.
Total star.
So what did Briatore do? He ruthlessly sacked Button to put a young, relatively unproven Fernando Alonso in the seat.
And the British press completely lost their minds. I remember they crucified him for it.
They went insane. They called it the worst managerial decision in F1 history. But Briatore, he didn't flinch.
Because it worked.
He won 2 world championships with Alonso and was completely vindicated. He loves bringing this up because he wants every driver on the grid to know he does not care about public opinion.
Right.
He doesn't care about media narratives, and he certainly doesn't care about a driver's feelings. Colapinto is on trial right now, and the jury is a firing squad.
So, mechanically speaking, what does Colapinto actually have to do to survive this August deadline? Because if raw speed isn't the primary metric Briatore is looking for, what is?
The ultimatum is hidden in plain sight. Briatore explicitly compared the dynamic he expects in 2027 to the way Giancarlo Fisichella and Jarno Trulli operated alongside Fernando Alonso back in those championship years.
Oh, man. The ultimate wingmen.
Yep.
Drivers whose entire job was to pick up the scraps, block the Ferraris, and never, ever race Alonso hard.
Exactly. Briatore doesn't just want a fast driver. He wants a perfectly compliant number 2.
So Colapinto has to swallow his pride.
Completely. The only way Colapinto survives August is if he demonstrates that he can score points on the days Gasly can't, never crash into his teammate, and never challenge the internal hierarchy.
Which is so hard for a rookie who wants to prove he's the best.
If he shows even a hint of wanting to be the alpha, Briatore will replace him before the summer break is even over. I guarantee it.
But, okay, if Colapinto fails that compliant number 2 test, Briatore has to look outside the team.
Naturally.
And if he wants to maximize that new Mercedes engine, he can't just hire another unproven rookie. He needs a proven killer.
Right.
Which explains the sudden explosion of Fernando Alonso rumors. And honestly, I am absolutely here for it.
Oh, here we go.
No, think about it. Bring Alonso back to Enstone for the 2027 engine regulations. He won his titles there with Briatore. Briatore is back. It is the ultimate explosive F1 comeback story.
It's a great story, sure.
You have the Mercedes power unit, you have the mastermind back on a pit wall, and you put the veteran assassin in the car for one last ride. Tell me that doesn't ignite the grid.
It definitely ignites the grid, but it completely ignores the bank account. Let me just pour some absolute ice water on this romantic fantasy of yours.
Come on, don't ruin it.
When Briatore was asked about the possibility of bringing in a superstar, an Alonso-level driver, his reality check was immediate. He said, and I quote, "For that, I need the money."
Ah,
And that is the massive economic elephant in the room that we need to unpack here. The financial reality of Alpine's parent company, Renault, is grim.
Yeah, Renault is bleeding cash. They are going through a massive corporate restructuring right now.
It's severe. I mean, in the last year alone, Renault has completely abandoned their massive motorsport programs in the Dakar Rally and the World Endurance Championship.
Just pulled the plug entirely.
They pulled the plug on legacy racing divisions just to save pennies.
Okay, so let's look at the financial mechanics of this. Formula One operates under a budget cap, which limits how much a team can spend on developing the actual car. It's around, what, $135 million?
Roughly, yeah.
But driver salaries are completely exempt from that cap.
That's the key.
So, if the parent company in France is shutting down other racing divisions just to keep the lights on in the factories, how on earth does Briatore justify demanding the $20 or $30 million required to pay Fernando Alonso's salary?
He can't. He literally can't justify it to Renault. The tension here is astronomical. Briatore has the ambition of a billionaire, but he's working with the allowance of a struggling subsidiary.
It's a massive mismatch.
By shutting down their own engine department and buying from Mercedes, Renault is saving hundreds of millions in R&D over the next few years.
Which makes the team financially viable to exist at all.
Right, but it doesn't give him a war chest for superstar salaries. The board isn't going to hand him a blank check just because he wants his old buddy Fernando back.
Which means Briatore has to find that superstar money entirely on his own.
Exactly.
And that brings us to the ultimate masterstroke of this entire situation, the Gucci lifeline.
It is arguably the most significant business move in the paddock this year, and it fundamentally changes the economics of the team.
We are officially saying goodbye to the BWT pink livery.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, Alpine is shifting entirely. Enter Gucci Racing for 2027. But I have to push back here because, look, throwing a luxury logo on a side pod doesn't add downforce.
No, it doesn't.
How does a fashion brand actually translate to aerodynamic development or driver salaries? I mean, they make bags, not front wings.
Let's break down the financial mechanism because this goes way beyond a traditional sponsorship deal. Formula One is currently in a massive luxury boom.
Huge.
Louis Vuitton has global ties with the sport. Rolex is everywhere. But Gucci will be the first massive luxury fashion house to actually be in the arena.
What do you mean by in the arena?
They aren't just buying billboard space at a corner. They're directly partnering with a constructor as a title sponsor.
They are putting their identity on the car that is going to be fighting Ferrari and Mercedes on track.
Exactly. And the financial injection from a brand like Gucci, I mean, one of the 3 biggest fashion houses on the planet, is immense. We are talking about tens of millions of dollars injected directly into the operating budget. Annually. This completely changes the mathematics of Enstone. Suddenly, the budget cap isn't an aspiration that Renault has to scrape together. It's fully funded by external luxury money.
Wow.
This makes the entire F1 operation virtually cost-neutral for Renault. And to circle back to your Alonso fantasy...
The superstar salary exemption.
Exactly. If Gucci wants a global icon wearing their racing suit on the grid in 2027 and they are willing to write the check, suddenly Briatore's quote of, "I need the money," is answered.
Gucci becomes the bank.
Gucci becomes the bank.
It's phenomenal. It completely changes how we have to view Alpine. They aren't just the struggling French works team anymore.
Not at all.
They're transforming into a luxury privateer outfit powered by a Mercedes engine and funded by high fashion. It is such a bizarre, intoxicating mix.
It's unprecedented. And it all traces back to Briatore's fundamental philosophy, which honestly borders on the sociopathic, but you cannot deny its effectiveness.
He gets results.
Did you catch his comments recently about the World Cup?
Oh, this was so weird, but so revealing.
It really was. So Italy hasn't qualified for the World Cup, right?
Right.
And Briatore is asked by the media who he is supporting. He doesn't pick a European neighbor. He doesn't pick an underdog for a feel-good story. He says he supports Brazil.
Out of nowhere.
And why? Because of Carlo Ancelotti. But more importantly, he says, because it is the team with the most talent.
Just pure, unfiltered pragmatism. No loyalty, no romance.
None. That is Briatore's entire worldview, and it is the exact blueprint for what he is executing at Alpine right now. There is absolutely zero sentimentality.
He doesn't care about French national pride, which is why he dropped the Renault engine.
Yeah. He doesn't care about developing a rookie just for the romance of it, which is why COLAPINTO is on the chopping block. Yeah. He is engaged in a ruthless, calculated accumulation of the highest caliber of talent and the largest stacks of money he can find. That's why he secured the Mercedes power unit, That's why he courted Gucci. And that's exactly how he is evaluating this impending driver lineup decision.
It strips away all the romance of the sport, doesn't it? It's just cold, hard, winning math.
That's F1 at its core.
Which leaves us staring at this August deadline. And it feels like the whole grid is holding its breath. Look at the board right now. Put yourself in FLAVIO Briatore's shoes.
Oh, that's a tough spot.
The clock is ticking, the pressure in the Enstone chassis department is at a boiling point, and the Gucci checks are about to clear. Do you play it safe? Do you bet on the unproven ceiling of a young Franco Colapinto demanding he plays the obedient human shield behind Gasly? Or do you empty that brand new Gucci bank account, blow up the entire driver market, and bring in a proven, ruthless superstar to partner Gasly and wage all-out war in 2027? Does this upcoming lineup announcement blow up a future championship fight, or does it ignite one?
That is the multi-million-dollar question. And knowing Briatore, whichever button he pushes, there is going to be absolute collateral damage across the paddock.
And think about the ripple effect on other driver contracts. If Alpine suddenly drops a massive Gucci bag on the table, the whole market gets reset. We're going to be tracking every single second of the fallout.
Absolutely.
The paddock is moving incredibly fast right now. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve as this August deadline approaches, you need to subscribe to Paddock Notes on our YouTube channel, hit follow on Instagram, and track us on TikTok right now. We are dropping real-time analysis the second these dominoes start falling.
Yeah, and seriously, hit that subscribe button, because with all this talk about luxury F1 money injecting millions into the sport, we need the views if we are ever going to afford our own custom Gucci racing suits for the studio.
I am not wearing a high-fashion racing suit to record a deep dive. I promise you that. I'd sweat right through it.
We'll see what the sponsors say when the budget cap hits us.
Fair point. Keep your eyes on the grid. We'll see you next time.